Greetings and welcome to the Magnolia, the show that is dedicated to image, brand, and culture. I'm Bittmann-Neville, your host. And I must say that we are currently living in what I would say very strange, unusual, unique situation, aren't we, with this virus? Sort of in the beginning, it reminded me of living through a hurricane. Right, the hurricane comes fairly quick, and then maybe you're without power, possibly trees are down, etc. You might not be able to get anywhere because there's no power, nobody else has any power. Maybe you're without that for 3 days, 5 days, 7 days. I've experienced all of that. And literally around the country, I don't want to say nobody cares, but they may see it on the news, but it's really not affecting them. And we get through it. The electricity finally is restored, the trees are removed, the water recedes, all of those things, and we get back to normal like the rest of the country and the world. However, with this virus, certainly it has been a bit different. We are all in this together, as we have heard that phrase. I think we're going to probably want to shoot ourselves if we continue to hear that much longer, but we really are. Everyone across the United States, everybody knows exactly when you say the virus and the COVID-19, everybody knows exactly what we're talking about, even around the world. So this is quite different. People are also finding they've got a whole lot of extra time on their hands. I don't know about your state. I believe all states now may have the mandate of we need to stay safe at home. And they would ask that we really only go out for the essentials. That might be the grocery store, etc. So, of course, there are some folks who are still out there working. They're keeping us safe. They're in the hospitals. There are policemen. There are EMS and others who are working to make sure that we are safe. And but I find that isn't this the perfect time to think about how to reorganize? Okay? So what do we mean by reorganize? Well, at least once a year, I always like to do this. I've been doing this for years, is just to step back and ask 5 questions. Okay? And the answers to those 5 questions will give you some reflection. It will give you also the ability to start thinking about the future. So here are the 5 questions that I would like for you to ask yourself. You may go ahead and write them down if you wish, or the blog at tnbgroup.com, the website, just click on the blog, and the blog Time to Reorganize is right there for you. And you please share it with others who you might find maybe they have a little extra time on their hands and they might enjoy and be challenged by doing this exercise. So the 5 questions again. Who am I? Where have I come from? How did I get how did I get here? Where do I want to go? And how can I get there? So those are the 5 questions. Now, of course, you're thinking, well, Nida, my goodness, I know who I am, I know where I came from, and I know how I got here. Yes, you do. But and I want you to actually write your answers down. There's just something about taking that thought in your head and using that pen and paper and transferring that. There is something more concrete about it. So I want you to take a pen and paper, but it's not only for these first 3 questions that I want you to answer them, of course, but I want you to think of the why. Who am I? Why? Why do I feel like I'm here? Maybe put down some words that would describe you. Who am I? Where have I come from? It's not only geographic location, but it's also maybe heritage, your culture. What about that? And how did I get here? Physically, and possibly in your career, where you are age-wise. How did I get here? What have I experienced? So answer the whys before you move on to the last 2 questions. So as you do that, what I also would like for you to do then is to let that sit for, several days, even a week. Just put it to the side, then go back, pick it up, read your answers again, and see if you want to either add or delete or adjust something. Do that until you feel fairly comfortable with the answers to your questions. Then let's go to the last two questions. Again, where do I want to go and how can I get there? So the answers to these questions, you may say, well, Nida, gee, I'd love to win the lottery, but I don't know whether that's going to happen. Well, you know that if you wanted to win the lottery, you have to play the lottery, right? So is it the fact that you're going to play it once a month or once a week? Certainly not every day, but there is a plan to do that, right? So, but the future, these last two questions are going to take a little bit more effort because where do I want to go? You can look at that from a geographic perspective. Maybe you'd really like to move somewhere else. Maybe that's being closer to family. Maybe it is just a change of scenery. Maybe it's because you're not in a college town and you find that you feel that there'd be a lot of benefits in a college town, or maybe you've lived in a college town before. Maybe you're in a small rural town and you want to be in a big city, or vice versa. So you could look at it from a geographic perspective. Where do I want to go? You could look at it from a personal perspective. Where do you want to go? Are you trying to possibly lose weight? Are you wanting to focus on your health, a particular aspect of it? There can be many things about where you want to go. And I would say for this exercise, 3 to 5 is a good number. So where do you want to go in a variety of different areas? And then how do I get there? So here's where you need to think about what are the strategies and then the tactics or the action steps that are going to help you get there. This is going to give you some new goals to work for and toward, and it's really going to help you to not only reflect, as I mentioned, but also thinking about the future. It could be everything from I want to go back to school, I want to finish a degree, and maybe now would be a good time to do that. I want to change careers. I want to mend some fences in relationships with people. So it can be all sorts of things. And if you need help, I'm happy to do that as well. So when we're talking about reorganizing your life, goals and objectives, creating a plan to accomplish it, I will guarantee you that you're going to enjoy the process if you really put your mind to it. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to be challenged by it, possibly even frustrated by it. But you're going to see that you're going to end up with a plan. And a plan is wonderful. And maybe that plan is short term. Maybe it's 3 years. Maybe it's 5 years. So I think that it's really, when I do it personally, I find it greatly rewarding. And for those of you who selected one word, we did this back just as soon as we welcomed 2020 in, and we picked a word that we were going to focus on throughout the year. I picked present. And that's not buying a gift or anything, that's being present in conversations, present in my surroundings. And so I work on that. So when I spent time doing this exercise, I took that one word and figured out how can I integrate that into my plan. So for those of you who did take that one word, you may want to look at that and see how you can incorporate that, because you have made a commitment to focus on that particular word for the rest of 2020. And so I challenge you to do this. I think you're going to, again, enjoy it. Please, if you'd love to share a few things, especially about the future, what are your plans? How do you plan to get there? I would just love to hear it. And until next month, you have been watching and listening to The Magnolia, the show that is dedicated to image, brand, and culture. I'm Nida Bittmann-Neville, your host. Have a wonderful day.